Hello everyone, today I'm going to review the Fujifilm XT4 after almost 2 years of use for photography. My name is Andrei Dima and I'm a travel photographer, and in the past 2 years I've used the Fujifilm XT4 alongside my Nikon D850 and recently the Nikon Z7 II. Because of COVID-19, I traveled less than in the past years, but I still got to see a lot of places in Spain and Portugal, where I got to use the Fujifilm XT4. Also, in this period of time, I've got to use a lot of lenses and review some of them, like the new Samyang 12mm f2 with autofocus, one of the first official third-party lenses to be released for Fuji X-mount. Not many people were happy with the XT4 when it was released, because they considered the upgrades from the XT3 not too big for the difference in price. And when it comes to price, maybe they were right at the time of release, but now, in 2022, when the price is lower, just the battery life and Ibis are worth it. Not to mention double the mechanical shutter count, less noise from the mechanical shutter, and increased frame rates. Let me tell you what I think about the build quality after this period of time. I think it is really well built. I'm not going to tell you what it's made from and stuff like that. I already did a review where I talk about those things. In this video I'm going to talk about my experience with this camera and how it holds up in 2022. Okay, back to build quality. The weather sealing did its job perfectly when needed. I never had a problem when shooting in the rain or with dust and moisture. All the buttons still function normally except for the ISO dial, which recently started to move a bit. The flip out screen and its hinge work good. No problems here. In general, I had no problems with the build quality of the camera except for the paint. I went for the silver version because it reminds me of an old Nikon film camera I used in the past. The silver paint wore off in the sides and corners of the body from the use with backpacks and bags. It's true, I put my cameras through hell sometimes because they are tools to be used, not trophies, but still I did not expect the paint to wear off so quickly. The grip is small but comfortable. I have medium-sized hands and I'm okay holding the camera for 2 hours without feeling discomfort. But this is me. You can also add a grip if you want a deeper one. I use the one from Small Rig, which is also an L bracket. This will also add weight to the camera, making it more stable when shooting. I really enjoy the overall feel of the camera, and if you are scared of those retro dials, don't worry, the camera is so customizable you can make it function like a DSLR. Almost forgot about my favorite feature, the photo movie switch. You can switch between photo and video without needing to readjust your settings when doing so. Yes, I know the A7 IV has it now, but the XT4 was first. The back screen is bright and color accurate, has good resolution, but the touch function doesn't work too well. The EVF is bright, has good resolution and frame rate, but the colors are not that accurate, and with some lenses becomes a bit warpy when you focus. This is really hard to see, so not a big problem. The image quality, it is really simple. Put good glass in front of this sensor and you will not be disappointed when it comes to resolution. The dynamic range is also good, but I would love if it retained a bit more detail in the shadows. But that is for mistakes or extreme conditions. If you expose right, you will never notice this. Low light and high ISO. If you don't have fast glass and need to push your ISO more until ISO 3200, you are okay. 6400 is decent, and above you will get a lot of noise, but there is a catch. And a thing I love about Fuji cameras is that the noise looks so nice. It's not like other cameras where you start to see a mash of digital artifacts. No, it looks filmic, and that is why I don't mind the noise in Fuji cameras. But that is me. Put some fast glass on this camera, lower your shutter speed because you can, it has Ibis, and you will never go above ISO 2400. Look for a well-lit place, interesting lights, buy some lights, do something, don't be lazy and let the camera do all the work. And for those of you who shoot birds and sports, ISO 6400 is the maximum I would go. The Ibis for photography works very well. You can take photos with wide-angle lenses at 1/15th of a second and get sharp results. And please don't compare this with the cameras that have smaller sensors and more room to move when it comes to Ibis. Compare it with something in its class. If you didn't know this by now, the color science on Fujifilm cameras is amazing. You get lovely skin tones even if you shoot JPEGs and use different film simulations. And the amount of options you have for shooting JPEGs and creating your own film recipes is amazing and a hobby on its own. Focus for photography is good. Eye and face detect work well depending on the lens you are using. My only problem with it is in low light, where it's not as good as Fujifilm claims. And then there is the tracking autofocus, which sometimes you can rely on and sometimes not. To sum it up, at 15 frames per second, my hit rate was around 65% and higher when using just continuous autofocus. The autofocus system in the XT4 is not revolutionary but gets the job done in most situations. Could it be better? Yes, we all are waiting for an improvement in this category from Fuji. Or maybe we are wrong and this is the maximum this camera can do. I am still waiting for that Kaizen firmware update for the XT4 that will blow my socks off. If it comes or not, the thing is, the XT4 is still an amazing camera with all its quirks. At the end of the day, it is still the camera I enjoy using the most. To sum it up, after all this time, I still love this camera for travel, street photography and much more. The image quality is spectacular if you use the right glass. I was never disappointed while using it alongside my Nikon D850 or the Z7 II. The RAW files give you plenty of details and dynamic range for any type of photography, and if you worry about printing, you can print a meter wide with great results. I think people were too harsh on this camera when it came out, and most were more focused on the video features of the XT4 rather than photography. They hoped for the perfect hybrid camera from a company that was never focused on video until recently. Maybe in the future we will see that, but until then, rent one, go out, take photos, have fun and see if you like it. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and if you want to support me more, check out my presets pack or use the links in the description. This helps me grow my channel and make more reviews for you to watch.